What is up, everyone? Matt back for another Who Are They Real Talk. And today, I'm here to talk to you with one of my good friends, honestly, one of my best friends. Our relationships really started to form over something we're going to talk about today. And we just gotten closer and closer over the years, thanks to Nick. And that is none other than Taylor Cleek.
Real talk.
Really Scared.
Real talk, baby. Real talk.
How you doing, Taylor?
I'm all right. I'm broadcasting live from the low commitment, half Really Scared set here in my basement. What's going on, guys? Great to be podcasting again. Been a little while since I've done something like this. So thank you for having me on.
But we all know there's reasons behind that. We're not going to dive into those because this isn't the show for that.
No, we got much more interesting things to talk about tonight. At least one, actually, I would say two subjects that I'm especially qualified to talk about. So I'm glad that you considered me and brought me on for these.
Dude, who else can I talk about Moviepass with? I mean, come on, come on. As I said, opening up, this is kind of where one of our friendships formed, because it's like, we were always aware of each other, hung out with Nick on occasion together, and then one day Moviepass became a thing, and we both got it, and we were both able to talk about it, and it was just like, you know what? Yeah, that's similar taste in movies. We're always talking to each other about the movie we just saw. Let's just keep this riding,
because we saw all of them, all of them,
all the time,
all the movies,
all the time.
It would genuinely be easier to list out probably the movies that I didn't see, like mid 2017, mid 2018, than to try to list all the ones that I did see, because it's a short list. And everybody who had that special little red card in their wallet back then, we all have this special bond. It's really, truly one of the most you had to have been there crazes that I've ever been able to be a part of. It was so special, and we all knew in the moment, we're like, this will never last, but while it does, I'm gonna ride the shit out of this one.
Ride that wave. It's like it was the too good to be true offer. That's really what it was.
Yeah, I remember so many thoughts and theories as to like how they were gonna make it work, how they were gonna break even. I was real active on the Moviepass subreddit at the time, where we were all just like sharing our experience of like, how many movies can you see in 1 week, and trying to figure out like what they could do to stay afloat. I remember there were so many strategies on their own part. You could truly see like people just making it up as they go. It was such a wild ride. The emails they would send out about their different plans and how they're going to keep the $9.99 price package. And then they were like trying to charge you just a little bit for movies sometimes. Right. And they were going to like sell your data, but then nobody wanted their data. It was just such a circus, dude. It was amazing. And I saw so many movies, for the better or for worse. When you see all movies, you realize like most of them aren't very good. It's actually pretty remarkable. So like when you see a really good one, you're like, hey man, that's a good movie.
I mean, the most infamous bad movie for you, we all know, is Gotti.
Gotti's such a great part of the saga, because it was a movie they actually bought. I don't know if they produced it, but they definitely distributed it. They bought that movie. And like, do you remember, did you see Gotti in theater? You did, right?
I've still not seen Gotti. We still have to do that watch along on here that we've talked about.
You've never seen Gotti. I got a Blu-ray on my shelf right now. Gotti was such a great part of the saga, because they were like, well, maybe what we'll do is we'll also distribute movies, and then we can like somehow do some like synergistic tie-in with our service and the movie itself to like help promote it, and like studios will funnel money towards us to like promote their movies to our customers. And Gotti was one of those movies. I'll never forget, dude. I sought Gotti out. It's the most perverted thing about that time in my life.
Few people I know who have done that.
It was so crazy. It was like a packed house. I was like, do we all have the pass? Do we all have it? And it was like, dude, it was like an 8 o'clock on a like weeknight. Like there were so many weird elements to it. I was like, do we all have the pass? Are we all here? And do you remember when that movie came out? They were like all the reviews were terrible. They're like, it's the worst movie of the year, which only drove my interest in seeing it. Is like, well, I gotta see the worst movie of the year if it's free. Obviously, I gotta find out. And when all the reviews are terrible, they like wrote this like MAGA fake news narrative of like, this is the movie the critics don't want you to see. So make sure you see it before the compromised media drives it out of theaters. And there was something else too, where they like submitted tons of like fake Rotten Tomatoes reviews. I think for
to try to boost the score up.
Yeah, I think because they did that one, and they also did American Animals, which is like a movie again that probably nobody remembers unless they had a Moviepass when it came out. But it was actually a decent movie. But I think that was the one where they like just filled their Rotten Tomatoes with like a ton of good reviews, and then like you looked at their profile, and the only other movie they reviewed was Gotti. It was like something. It was like their scheme was very transparent. It was just crazy. Like I know if people who don't know what I'm talking about are like, "What is he talking about?" But if you were there, it was great. It was. I remember one of the first movies I saw, Moviepass, Emoji Movie, baby. That's where I set the bar. That's where I set the bar for myself, because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna go that low, there's nothing I won't see, and I very much am style. It's amazing. It's amazing, and now they're coming back, is what I hear.
Yeah, and it's called Moviepass 2.0, and it's very, very much kind of dystopian, just like that Disney neighborhoods that were recently announced.
Oh man, yeah, Disney's building suburban communities. That's such a
which apparently you have to be 55 or older to live in. So they're basically retirement communities.
Retirement communities. That's I feel like that's not the demographic they should be pitching Disney neighborhoods to.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later.
Yeah, it's a great subject. It's a great symptom of our capitalist nightmare.
Yeah, but no, Moviepass is making a comeback, and it's by the co-founder Stacy Spikes, who's back at the helm as the CEO.
Yeah,
and instead, it's kind of using a virtual currency.
Is it a crypto thing?
No, it's members will have credits they can use for tickets for themselves and friends. Unused credits will roll over to the next month, and you'll be able to transfer them to other people. There are tiered plans, but pricing was not divulged. Credits will work differently during peak and off times. A Friday or Saturday showing might cost more, and you can reserve specific seats instead of having to go to the theater like you did before.
Okay. You know what? This sounds, first of all, definitely not the Moviepass that we knew and loved. Definitely not. Which, of course, it couldn't have been without like a crazy hike in price. Because I think Moviepass was like $40 a month before they did that.
It was $50 a month before it did the crazy.
$50 a month, which would still be more than worth it if you were using it like we used it. But it's interesting. That sounds a lot like Cinemark's thing, their movie club. Which I remember when that came out, it was during Moviepass craziness.
Proud member of the movie club.
That's what's funny. I remember laughing at that one because I was like, "That one sucks. Who would sign up for that?" And now it's the only one it's the only one I have. I don't have the AMC one anymore because there's no AMCs near me. The only one I have is a Cinemark one. But you got to get those snack breaks, baby.
If there was an AMC near me, I would, without a doubt, be a part of Stubbs. The closest AMC is that Solon one that is like so ungodly uncomfortable.
I don't think I've been to that one that I can think of. The theater I saw Gotti in was super weird. It's not to go back to Gotti, but it was like such an enhancement to the experience because it was like a movie theater inside of a dead mall. Like I think it was the Regal. You might know what I'm talking about because you know your movie theaters. I can't even remember where it was.
Regal Richmond?
I think Richmond was it.
Yeah, I was about to say, was it the one out by Nick and I? If I remember correctly, that's what you said you saw it.
It's like parked in the back of a dead mall, which is so weird because like all the parking lots.
It was the Regal Richmond.
Yeah,
that's near. Well, no longer Regal. It's closed because it's being remodeled. That entire area over there is being remodeled, turning into apartment living, and they're remodeling the movie theater. And Regal's no longer going to be the owner of it. I'm hoping it's an AMC. It turns into AMC personally because I will get my A-list. But yeah, because I remember you told Nick and I, like, I came to your neck of the woods to see Gotti,
which
so it had to have been Regal Richmond because that mall was dead.
But even then, it was nowhere near me at all. So like, I made a trip specifically to see that in the back of a dead mall where like all the parking lots were like overgrown with weeds, looked like the post-apocalypse, like all the
Yep, that was
storefronts were
Richmond.
they're shuttered and boarded up, but there's this weird theater at the back, and it's the only one you could see Gotti in. So it's like I'm going there.
Yep, that was Regal Richmond.
I'm going there. So yeah, anyway, this new model is obviously a lot different. I'm almost
Taylor,
yeah.
I haven't even gotten to the best part. Let me finish.
Lay it on me.
Moviepass 2.0, you can earn credits by watching ads. Here's the thing. The app will be tracking your eyeballs.
Yes.
Make sure you're watching those ads.
Make sure you're watching those ads, fucko. Don't you dare look away.
If you're not watching the ads, then you don't get the credit.
Wow. We just truly live in the end times. This is nuts. Wow, that's so I mean, like that's the logical escalation of where we were headed anyways. Wow,
Here.
watch the ads and don't even look away, or the credit we're hanging out of the credit.
Here, this is what it says. The new Moviepass will use your phone's cameras to make sure you're actually watching the ads. And this is what they said. As I'm looking at it, it's playing back. But if I stop and I'm not paying attention to it, it actually pauses the content, Spike says. Well, and this was during the presentation. We had an early version of this where you know what happened. People put their phone down and left and didn't pay attention to it. Right now, 70% of video advertising is unseen. This is a way that advertisers get the impact they're looking for, but you're also getting the impact yourself. AKA, you want to earn free credits. Watch these ads, boy, and you can't screw us over.
That makes sense. I mean, obviously, no one would actually watch them if they could get away with that. How long do you think you have to watch commercials before
some
you get a
people have suggested this is how Moviepass is trying to get back with the theater chains, studios. Why don't you put your ad on here and then we'll so maybe it's trailers, maybe it's ads for specific theaters, things like that. So if that's the case, I'll sit through it because you're telling me I just got to watch a trailer I probably love already, or just a trailer I'm going to think, oh my God, this movie's going to be trash.
They're like, we know you're not going to pay $12.50 to go watch the 355. But if you watch 20 minutes of commercials, we'll send you there on our dime. That makes sense. And yeah, I think you play trailers, that makes sense. Or if they did a deal with a theater chain, right? Like if AMC parked up their commercial and said, come on in and buy this giant pretzel this weekend, and you just can't look away. You're just like, you're owned in on that pretzel.
You're like, I want that pretzel. I gotta go.
You're like, I've been watching that pretzel for 15 fucking minutes. I gotta go get one as soon as it's done. So like the ticket you get is free, right? It's like on Moviepass is dime, and then you walk up to the concession stand, you buy yourself a giant $10 pretzel, and that's still going to be profit for AMC at the end of the day because it's where they make their money anyway. So I could see like that was their play originally. They were like, we're going to figure out a way to like market you, the consumer. Like I remember something they had said at one of their meetings. This was when it was ran by like those two crazy cokeheads. Because like the lady who's doing it now, right? She didn't have anything to do with the crazy like rodeo days of Moviepass where everything was $10. I think it was
Stacy's a man. Let's make that clear now. Stacy's a man.
Excuse me, sorry, Stacy. But there were these two dudes whose names I used to know. That's how deep in it with Moviepass I was. But like they had bought it out, and the $9.99 deal was their idea, and then they just like hemorrhaged all investors' money for a year and then closed. So I think this person had nothing to do with that period. If I'm correct, Stacy here. So maybe it is in the hands of more rational minds. I'm surely they must have learned something from that. I mean, they learned they can't sell this for $10. That's what
it was learned. The former Netflix CEO. I remember that. The former Netflix CEO.
Right. So he was like, look, I got a lot of clout. A lot of people used to laugh at me, DVDs in the mail, just trust me. And I bet that's how they got a lot of investors in. And they're like, I don't know, brother. This ain't washing out still.
You want to know what I'm mad at? I'm still mad at the fact that I didn't buy Moviepass low, watch that climb, and just sell.
That's true. I remember that was a part of it too, is their stock completely bottoming out and collapsing too.
To the fact they had to split it and then eventually were taken off the stock exchange.
Yeah, they were a penny stock, I remember.
Yeah.
Before the end of it, they were a penny stock, which is truly something to see. Nowadays, people would like pump and dump that shit. They would completely, they would send Moviepass to the moon these days. It was too bad for them. They didn't get in late enough for that era. Yeah. So how do you, is this something you're going to, just based on current info, is this something you're going to test out?
Well, they're letting the people who are actually at this announcement event be the beta testers right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll test it out. I'll see how the beta test goes and maybe wait a few months after the fact.
Yeah.
But depending on pricing, maybe I'll give it a shot. I mean, if it allows me to, I mean, granted, I go see movies free now, basically. Like,
right.
Now, granted, I still have a girlfriend who I can't take to those half the time, so I still end up having to see a movie again after the fact.
More than once. And some of those movies you probably don't want to have to pay for a second time.
Well, like, for example, there's a movie I saw today for the second time, finally, that I've been dying to see again. We went to Scream.
Oh, man. We're seeing, I had not seen Scream yet. Can you believe this? We're seeing it tomorrow, which at the time of people watching this means I've already seen Scream. But yeah, we're seeing it tomorrow, and I somehow have not been spoiled even the slightest on it. I can't believe I haven't been.
Taylor, you're breaking my heart.
It was rough, dude. The weekend that came out,
talk to you about it.
I got super COVID the weekend it came out.
Oh yeah, you did.
And then I've just been busy after having recovered, so like it just hasn't lined up. Although I did see Jackass last week.
I would have seen Scream over Jackass.
We saw Jackass, and then I saw No Way Home again with her, and she had never seen No Way Home. Yeah. So, which she had been spoiled, front and back, basically. Although there was one surprise in the middle, which I still won't actually say for sake of anybody who hasn't seen it. But there's one big plot moment I'd put like smack dab in the middle that she had been spoiled on. That's pretty intense. Was
it the smash? Like,
it was big sad time.
But yeah, that's what I was about to say. The sad smash.
Big sad time. She hadn't been spoiled on. So, but even still, like the magic of that third act, it looked like it was totally effective on her, even though she knew it was coming. And then Jackass, man, that was not your cup of tea, but I was drinking it up.
I gave it a fair review. I gave it a 4. It's not like I graded it on a.
It's pretty good. Out of 5. It's pretty good.
I'm like, look, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm not grading it as if it's my cup of tea because I didn't grow up on this. Right. I did say it is without a doubt penile torture.
Yeah, you know what? I know you've not seen the other ones. I will confirm the dick and ball torture on Jackass Forever. The ratio is way higher than the previous entries. They really waved that flag on this one.
It seemed like there was more cock and balls in this than I like.
It's literally like the first thing you see.
I'm sitting here. I'm like, how is this not NC-17?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. That's actually a great point. Is like for some reason it being like a pseudo documentary, does that like somehow skirt the rate? But you think it being real would make it more privy to a harsher rating?
When I see a dude turn his dick into a ping pong ball, I was like, what? And this is one of the last things I see. I will say that last the closing thing, I loved that. I'm like, where was this? I wanted more of this.
Oh, the big finale?
Yeah, the color spin and
yeah.
Like that, the finale. I was like, all right, cool. I did not need to see someone drink pig cum. I didn't need to see pig cum fall on someone.
Yeah, I know. You know, he really did throw back that pig jizz real fast, didn't he? Pretty without even missing.
Blinking, didn't even blink, and
yeah,
he just
even have to.
It. Yeah, just grabbed it. Wasn't even told to do it. Just grabbed it and drank it. And I was
like, Jess will tell you, there's no movies on this earth that made me laugh like those movies have. And like I knew we had to see it in theaters. I would be like, any other movie, like if I miss Scream and watch it at home, I can deal with that. But I need to
Taylor, I can tell you this one I don't think you could have. Like,
well, I'm very thrilled that I will see it tomorrow. But like,
I know. I'm just saying. I think when you see it, you'll be like, "No, I'm glad I saw that on the biggest screen."
Oh yeah, I'm super excited. It's been stressing me out that I would miss it. I was like, man, I know I miss movies sometimes, but
man, I'm glad I didn't open talking about Scream because I almost did.
I truly have not been spoiled on any detail. I have no idea about the killers. I still don't really know about I mean, I've been intentionally dodging it too, but like it's pretty amazing that on my Twitter feed where I have a lot of horror centric content that no one has let it slip for me, right? Like I know it's not the same thing as Spider-Man quite pop culturally, but even still, like I can't believe I don't know. So
Hey, all you know is we're getting the 6th one, and you're like, cool.
6, yes. I have to see this one before I like gauge my excitement level on that, but I'm anticipating really liking this one, and I can't imagine being in a scenario where I'm like, oh, that's enough. Don't give me any more screams.
So I gotta ask, would you have seen these already if you still had Moviepass?
Well, yeah, I don't know if I still had I mean, who knows what the world would look like if you still had $9.99 Moviepass? I can't even like everything would be different.
Can I be honest? A small little sad part of me thinks you'd still be single if you still had Moviepass.
If I had it right now, I think even like because when I also this, and I don't have to get too into it. When I did have Moviepass and it was happening, it also like happened at the exact moment in my life that I needed it to. I was in a very unhappy part of my life where I did not have a lot going on that brought me joy, and the easy cheap excuse, because I was also broke as hell, the easy cheap excuse to get out of the house like 4 times a week to go see a movie, like it really didn't even matter what it was, just the opportunity to get out of my home or out of step out of normal for a little bit and go see
there were days where you'd work a morning shift. I remember you told me you'd like, I worked the morning shift, I got off, I was having a bad day, went to go see a movie, cheered myself up.
Yeah, like having that in the to look forward to every day. It'd be like opening up Fandango or whatever. I mean, like what are the times? What can I see today? And I saw so much trash. Like I said, you see every movie, you go, oh man, most of them are average to not good. But when you do see like a true, genuine 4-star movie, like, wow, that was really fucking exceptional,
Which is why I know you're a bigger Last Jedi defender than a lot of other people, because you're like, that was one of those ones for you.
That was a Moviepass movie. That's true. I remember exactly seeing that one. Infinity War was a Moviepass movie. Like, a lot of great movies I saw that year. I developed a greater appreciation of independent film or smaller budget film because I was going out to like the local, your Cedar Lee's, Capitol Theater. If you're in Cleveland,
you traversed the city with Moviepass.
Yeah, I really, it sent me on a real journey. Like I really did like expand my cultural tastes and my geographical knowledge of Cleveland. Like I really went on a couple of journeys on this. I went to here's a great example of how like what Moviepass did to my life. I not only did I drive all the way to Richmond and watch Gotti in a dead mall, I drove all the way to a theater. Again, this is very local, a theater in Mentor, which you can also confirm with has never been anywhere near me, any of the places I've lived.
But about 45 minutes to an hour from you.
And the movie that I drove out there to see, because it wasn't available anywhere else, that's why I went there, was the do you know who Zach Bagans is?
I think so.
From Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, the television show.
Okay.
He put out a documentary called Demon House about him buying this haunted house in Gary, Indiana. I think it's Gary, Indiana.
Right near Chris.
Yeah, he told me
not that far.
Chris had told me he'd been through Gary before, and I was like, oh, that's a dark place. I saw it in Demon House, right? Such a Zach Bagans is just like a walking meme. Like it was terrible. It was me and an old lady in this theater by ourselves. And I was like, what's her story? How did you end up here? Do you have Moviepass? How? And like, I remember at the register, I got the ticket. The kid was like, what is that movie? He's like, I've never heard of this before. What is this movie? I'm like, it's a documentary, man. Zach Bagans put it out. He bought a haunted house, and like the police won't go in the house. Like everybody in town's scared of the house. It's terrible. Like a ghost attacks him at the end, and he like loses vision in his eye or something. It's terrible. I drove an hour to watch that, knowing what it was. I wasn't going like, oh, this will be a great film. I was just like so bottomed out on like genuine happiness. And I was like, this is the only thing I could do to make me feel alive is drive to Mentor an hour away and watch Ghost Adventures. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, if I had Moviepass now, it's like, well, my life's very different now. So like I would not be in a position to just drive an hour away to see a movie I don't really care about. Nor would I want to do that anymore. So the traditional model, the old model of Moviepass, I mean, it's still $10 a month. So of course I'd have it. You know, the whole thing was if you saw one movie, you were even on the month, basically.
Right.
So I would absolutely still have it, but I would definitely not be using it the way I did in that special precious time.
I think you'd use it like once a week, twice max.
Maybe because like even now I really only get out to see a movie on average. I'd say maybe 2-3 times a month. It's like which is child's play compared to what I used to.
Bro, you and I were the people Moviepass hated because we would text each other literally almost every day. What did you watch today with your Moviepass?
Yeah, I mean that was it. They're like, how are we going to break even? It doesn't matter if we sell people's data. This dude saw The Equalizer 2-3 times. Like, why would anybody see The Equalizer 2-3 times?
And
like,
eventually, that's why they're like, no, you can see every movie once every day. And it's like, well, there's a loophole. Like, if it's a movie I don't want to see and I want to see a movie again, I'll just say I'm seeing the movie I don't want to see, and then buy the ticket.
Yeah, and then they were like, well, we're gonna also like pay attention to when you buy it, because like I would do that too. I'd show up at like, because I used to work in a mall, and the mall had a theater, so like I'd walk up to the kiosk. I'm like, well, Black Panther's not playing for another 4 days, but I'll say I'm checking into I don't know. Well, I don't even know what would be an example. I'm checking into Annabelle Creation a second time, and I'm gonna buy that Black Panther ticket or whatever. You're right. Yeah, they would make you only see it once. You'd have to like sacrifice off bad movies you were pretending to see, so you could go see good movies a second time. That's how they were doomed. Like the human factor.
Then there was the picture taking saga.
Oh, you're right. Wow, I forgot about that. They made you take pictures of the tickets to prove that you were going to the movie you bought the ticket for.
So then you would intentionally start going to the theaters where you didn't have to pick your seat ahead of time just so you can.
Yeah, they can never. The human factor would like you would. Their base would always figure out a way to get around whatever they were trying to do. It was just no. I mean, like God bless them, you know. But we just knew. Like you always knew. Well, this is never going to work. So instead of like try to take in consideration these fools who made this terrible business move, it's like I'm gonna ride it out. And I saw some great movies as I was saying before.
Well, let's be honest. Like they were expecting it to be one of those things like you pay for it once a month, and people wouldn't take advantage of it like that. They expected people like maybe only go to like 2, 3 a month. They didn't expect people to be like, oh, they underestimated the cinephile. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and I think they thought like, oh, the person who's going to buy this is the person who already goes to see a lot of movies. But no, everybody said, oh shit, I can go see a lot of movies if I get this thing. Like, and they had like a sign up window too, where I thought they're like, because it was like open for a month. They're like, if you lock it in now, you have this for a year. And they totally underestimated how many people were going to sign up for that. Like word got out a little too good. And from there on, I just imagine they were just like at all times, like phones are constantly ringing, stuff's on fire.
Let's be honest. That 1.5 year window, they really helped the film community. Let's be honest, just in general, because I remember the years it was in service were 2 of the highest years of ticket sales ever, and I'm like, I wonder why.
Right, which I remember was another thing. They were like, well, we could take that power, and what if we say like, you know, they were going to
cut of your movie.
Yeah, they were going to start going to theater chains or studio chains and say like, hey, well, if you don't give us a little money, like we won't support your movie in the same way. Or like, hey, AMC, if you don't give us some kickbacks, maybe it's going to be harder for our users to come see movies at your theaters. So they thought they could like extort other businesses into supporting theirs. And so all of them said what they of course would say is, fuck you, we'll just make our own then. And because it's in-house, we can offer even better deals than you because we're not like hemorrhaging money as is. So I mean, in that way though, they did very much like disrupt the theater industry. And like even if their lifespan in that time was fairly short-lived, they definitely changed the game permanently, because now all the theaters had their memberships and stuff, but not like they do now, where it really is about keeping you specifically loyal to their theaters.
I think Regal and AMC had the best plans in regards to that. But the issue is we live in an area where Regals are more spread out. There's not really any AMCs.
Yeah.
So Cinemark is king in our area.
Cinemark's all I got. I got 2 Cinemarks 10 minutes away. Why would there be 2? that are 10 minutes away from me. Why they're competing with each other, I don't get it, but it's all I got. So like
Well,
the
like,
Cinemark one's like, why not have it? You know what I mean?
right.
You know, you get a free movie a month, but like the discount on food is like
The concessions. That's
super helpful. Yeah, 20% off on food, because then obviously what happens is I start buying food even more often than I would anyway, because I go, oh, well, it's 20% off, even though if I buy it every time I go to the movies, I'm spending more money than I was before. But my you know, my stupid, you know, hamster brain, they know exactly how to manipulate me psychologically into doing their bidding, which MoviePass might do now if they're going to make me stare at 10 minutes of advertising like fucking Clockwork Orange.
yeah. Like I can say this: the only theater that has the true MoviePass deal is Regal Cinemas. Regal Cinemas, it's like 18. They have 3 different tiers. It's $18 a month minimum, or $18.99 a month minimum, and it's see as many movies as you want, just like MoviePass.
Oh man, it's been so long since I've been to a Regal. I didn't even realize it was that good. I don't think I ever signed up for their like paid
I didn't.
membership.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't, because like each plan, it like the lowest one, there was each plan had a list of theaters you can go to. So if it wasn't this colored tier, the only theaters that were that color were the only ones you can go to. If it was a tier up, you can go to the previous tier and these other ones. And if you have the highest tier, it's any Regal around the country.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
I mean,
they found their way around it.
But I don't think any of those chains, those multiplex chains, developed those without MoviePass basically forcing them into a corner. Which was like, again, MoviePass, they didn't have to do that. MoviePass made them get all nervous. that was they called their bluff and they're like, all right, we'll make our own then, and then nobody will keep yours once you shut her up. Nobody will have an issue, because at first I was like,
I'm never leaving MoviePass. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, well, I mean, they basically made me leave at the end of the day, because you remember then there was like that. I hung on really tight until like the last moment, because it was like the choices were so limited at the end.
You and I are both like, I was like, Taylor, I'm jumping ship. How about you? You're like, not yet. I got to text me like a month or so later.
Yeah,
it's time.
It's time, and that AMC deal's looking mighty sweet, and there's one 20 minutes away from me, and like 3 movies a week. It's like there's no reason really to see more than 3 a week. Like, you think they're putting out more than 3 watchable movies in a week? Of course not. So like, it's totally worth it. What was the last? I know what the last MoviePass movie I saw was, but I'm having trouble pulling the title. And it was a movie that, again, they had acquired MoviePass, so it was like very easy to get tickets to this movie, but it was also a very limited. What the fuck was it? It's about like these two. It's a like European movie, and it's about like these trolls. What's it called? It's like a
I'm looking at
woman.
MoviePass movies.
It's like a troll woman, and it was very good. It was very weird, and it like follows her life, and she's a level like a troll man. I don't remember very much else than that, but it was like a weird fucking, like a weird pervert movie like I would watch all the time. And I saw it at I keep going local with these theater references, but the Nightlight in Akron, which I haven't been so long, but it's fucking awesome theater. It's bothering me. It's like a 1-word title. It's like 2 trolls. I swear this is great. I'm gonna try to
hold up. I'm pulling it up.
What's it called? I think it's a 1-word title. I keep wanting to say Bright, but that's a shitty Netflix movie. What is it? I'm trying to avoid the dead air here.
Is it Border, Villains, The Reckoning, Monsters and Men?
Hold on. Oh, I saw Monsters and Men too. You remember? Did you see that movie?
No, I never saw Monsters.
I think it might be Border. Hold on.
I think it's Border, because there's not a long list of films to go through here.
Yes, Customs Officer Tina is known for extraordinary sense of smell. Yes, it's because she's a troll, like a literal troll. And yeah, it was like super out there and crazy and surreal and like gross, which are like all things that'll bring me into your movie. And it was the last one I saw of MoviePass. I remember swiping it for the last time, and I knew it was it. I was like, this is like a pretty appropriate way to go out. I'm going to a theater I hadn't really been to much before at that time, Nightlight in Akron. Again, if you're local, can't recommend that theater enough. It's super cool. And I was like, seeing this bizarre movie I don't know much about, and I went in, and it was a real fucking trip. And those are the best MoviePass moments, where you just go in and you see something you didn't know you're going to see. And then like the worst MoviePass experiences, or you go see Gotti. You see Gotti, or like, what's another really bad one that I saw? I saw everything. Like I saw all the crappy teen movies I would
Escape
never watch
Plan,
otherwise.
Extractors, 10 Minutes Gone.
What? I'm trying to think of a
They
really.
don't have many. They don't have many movies they were involved with.
Yeah, they really didn't. I mean, it's like everything else. They totally incorrectly anticipated what they're. They tried everything. I'll give them that. They threw everything at the wall, and none of it stuck for them, unfortunately. But they're coming back, and I'm kind of the same thought as what you'd said. And it's like if it's affordable enough, like maybe I'll give it a shot. Like if I really can find myself like getting the value out of it, like I might.
See, and that's the thing. Considering the credits you're going to be using are going to be varied based off what time you go. I'm like, let's be honest. Most people's times that they're free are during peak times. So you're telling me I'm going to use all my credits on one movie? Probably.
Yeah. I'll definitely need it. They didn't say like they didn't give any hints at what it's going to cost a month yet, right?
No, they haven't.
Yeah, because they probably don't know. I guess they probably going to figure that out with the beta group. Like, how much would you pay for this garbage? The credit thing's interesting. I totally thought you were going to go like crypto NFT with it because like you could totally see like if the same guys if they were the same guys running it back then or running it now, they would totally be doing some NFT crypto shit. And they still may. We never know. We might be in for another wild ride with these guys. I was excited to see it come back. Like it felt like a weird joke because Moviepass coming back's been a joke a couple of times in the last year. It's been
and I remember any time even the slightest inkling of it came back, you and I'd be like, Taylor, Matt.
Yeah, like break glass in case of emergency. It's coming back. It's coming back. I remember they had merch. They had like swaggy merch. I remember it.
Yep.
I wish I'd bought a Moviepass hoodie. What do you think? There's a landfill somewhere that has a bunch of like a Moviepass hats in it. Like I wish I'd bought one when I could because that's like a collector's item now. It's like it was all red. It said Moviepass. Classy. But it cost more than $10 a month, so I wasn't gonna get it.
I mean, would your client come out with a Moviepass hat on one day?
That's something to pursue. Maybe we could get him sponsored. I mean, they've done worse marketing gimmicks before. Maybe he comes out and he's got a hat on. He's got like a Moviepass robe on. Like we deck him out head to toe.
Red satin robe, Moviepass and white.
Yeah, he's pimping it out in the promos. I think why not? That would actually be. I would love to see that partnership. Not to take it back to other stuff we were talking about earlier, but Shmoda Moviepass partnership. That'd be something to see. That'd be something to see. And then they take this whole thing down where I laughed at their failed marketing gimmicks back in 2017, but they say take that shit down. Come on, we all know it's true, but you don't need to broadcast it like that. It was good. It was a good time. The world will never be like that again, so I'll always remember it fondly.
Right. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about a movie I know both of us would definitely abuse the living shit out of Moviepass for, and that's Batman.
Yeah, you don't need a Moviepass to get me to this one. You don't need any credits. I'll pay out of pocket, no problem. Go see the Batman.
I know I was able to show you that there was that Wednesday night preview showings. Were you able to grab tickets for that or no?
I didn't look into that. First of all, I think those aren't they like pretty expensive? Those?
Oh, because it was the price of a normal XD screening.
Oh, really? Well, we don't have to get too into it, but I'm a little preoccupied with some things that week. Again, hopefully it's just being preoccupied with things and not being preoccupied with COVID, like with Scream. But it's going to be another one where I don't see it for a few days till it comes out, which is going to drive me absolutely nuts. So I'm going to be probably completely absent from social media for a week, which is going to be a challenge because I'm a shitty millennial. But it's going to be like I know you're going to see it pretty soon, right?
You can find our review for it right here on WATReelEnt Entertainment, February 28th.
There you go. Perfect. That's what I was trying to do. I was queuing you up for that.
I see it Thursday. I see it in less than a week.
Oh man.
No, I see it in a week. I will have seen it. I will have gotten out of it roughly 4 hours ago a week from now.
Beautiful. And I won't even be able, I know it's gonna be non-spoiler review, I imagine, right?
Oh, of course, of course.
I feel like I still won't even be able to watch. I want to go in so blind. They keep putting out clips, and I'm not watching any of these clips. I saw they put out some great action sequence the other day. I'm like, I'm not watching that. Putting out like a new TV spot every day. I'm like, I'm not watching that. Like
I keep it at just the trailers that came out. I have not watched anything else. And like I remember one of the first times you came over and you saw Batman stuff that my dad had decorating. You're like,
yeah.
You're like, all right. I can come over here. I dig this.
What really impressed me was that George had like a framed Batman Beyond art cell. I was like, it's one thing to rep the animated series or the movies, but you go for Beyond. Now you
have my respect.
yes. Now I see you're a man of culture like myself because I love Batman. I mean, yes, I love Batman. That's my, like, there truly is, some people would say like, oh man, another Batman movie. Truly, there's nothing that gets me excited more than a Batman movie when it comes to new releases. Nothing gets me hotter than a new Batman.
And I know you and I are big defenders of Batfleck.
Look, you know me. I'll defend Clooney if you make me. I got my point, all their backs.
But my point is, like, right now, I know we were part of that small minority who it's like, no, we've seen Robert Pattinson films other than Twilight, and this is a perfect casting,
isn't it?
And then
isn't it funny?
I remember that real talk. We ended up talking about it.
Yeah.
And we're all like defending. We're like, watch this.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have come around on that in the time since they announced that casting. And like I see it getting shit on a lot less, or people doubting it a lot less because people are now in addition to like Lighthouse, people have seen him in like Tenet, Good Time. Like they've seen them. I think those movies
they've started to reach out for the more obscure stuff, which I'm kind of happy about.
Which people really happy about. Longtime fans of this channel also know I got nothing but respect for him in the Twilight movies. Anyway, like
I will say this: some people have asked me if we're interested in doing that again.
I saw Winston almost did it again, and I was stunned. I was like, "How the fuck?"
He's working on it. So there are for those people who watch us and Winston's channel. On his Twitch, if he hits 80 or 83 subscribers by the end of the month, he's got a ticker on when he's streaming. 83 subs by February 28th, he will watch Eclipse. And if he gets 50,
one movie,
if he gets 50 subs a month, he'll watch the next movie.
But
he said if we do another charity stream, he will come on for that.
Yeah, because he came on for quite a while, but it would be something else to make him truly watch.
All of New Moon.
It'll still never crack me up to remember that when we had him on, and this is still on our channel if people haven't seen it before, we did a 12-hour Twilight charity stream. And we had Winston on, and we had our dear friend Alok Mishra on, two like radically different people, but two crazy energies to have on screen at the same time, talking about how Twilight was so bad that they should make prisoners in jail watch it as punishment. And then we introduce and bring on Christina Patterson, who worked on all 5 Twilight movies in the middle of them talking about it.
And I love how she came on. She's like, "No, I definitely get the sentiment." And we're like, "Phew," because you and I were both like trying not to crack up because we had just seen her pop in. We're just like,
in the middle of them just completely shitting on it. I was like, boy, this is wow. We got like 3 more movies to watch. This is going to be quite a day. But no, we've been on board for Pattinson really since the start. And isn't it so funny now that it seems like Batman always has this effect, but when they announced Ben Affleck playing that character, people were losing their minds. They hated it. He fucked up Daredevil. He's going to fuck this one up. Like, they were so awful about it. And now there's this contingency when Robert Pattinson's playing the character. It's like, bring back Ben. He's the real Batman. Do the Batfleck movie, even though he's been out here saying, like, I just don't want to make Batman movies. I don't care.
I don't want to make IP movies anymore, is what
Yeah.
he said.
Yeah, like the whole circus soured his perspective on it so deeply, and they're still like, make that movie instead of Pattinson. It's just the weird cycle that we go in every time. And it seems like it always happens with Batman. I don't know what it is about that character that makes people feel that they know so like that they have such a concrete idea of what that has to be, and they aren't willing to see any interpretation with it. Like with this character who they've been making movies with since the 60s, I'm like, interpretation's all you have. Like, that's what's kind of interesting is Batman's this weird litmus test where like every filmmaker had a spin on it, and it wasn't like every movie was the same movie. It was like everybody who's ever got to play with it, they're doing their own thing.
Definitely going to be, it's like a little bit of year one, a little bit of Long Halloween, a little bit of this, a little. I'm like, bro, I'm kind of tempted to try to like binge all the comics like runs that he said they're based off of in the next week.
And I've really liked that I keep seeing all these little clips on Twitter from like Pattinson interviews, and he's like gotten really deep into the comics too. I keep seeing. And he's like, and like you said, there's some of the more apparent ones, like everybody reads like Dark Knight Returns and Hush and Year One. But like I've seen him shout out like, I don't know, Batman Gothic, which is like, he's going like pretty deep on the list. And it's cool because I don't think necessarily reading the comics has to be a prerequisite if you're playing that character. Like you just have to find your take on the script.
But it definitely helps having read the different variations to kind of get an idea of where you want to go with it.
It's cool that he's actually that interested, because I also find Robert Pattinson just to be like a very interesting like as a performer. My read on him has always been post Twilight that like he like almost hates being an actor and he hates being famous, but it's like this weird burden he has to carry through life because he's so good at it. And it's like, it's this his weird calling that he has to keep walking towards, even though it's also a source of like so much frustration for him, because he seems like just a genuine weirdo, which I also really appreciate.
Yes.
Like the Twilight era, they were like, we're going to model this man into the big Hollywood hunk. He's doing a tie-in song. He's doing like shirtless ads. He's beautiful. And then like after that, he was like, fuck it, I'm doing a David Cronenberg movie. Like, he completely revolted.
Just went straight off the grid for a few years.
Yeah. And Stewart too. And then now she's, nominated for an Oscar. So those two.
I'm so happy about that.
Those two walked through the fire in a big way. But yeah, no, I love that he's that interested in Batman to like find different takes on the character, and like he wants to truly get it from like a historical standpoint, not just the version they're doing, but like really get Bruce, really get Batman. I saw him the other day. Oh man, as if this guy wasn't catering to me any more than he already has. I saw him say like, yeah, if we do more, I'd really love to do Court of Owls. And I was like, Court of Owls. Because that's what I want. I already had that in my brain as that should be the next one. If they do another one with these guys, that should be the next one.
See, I think that'll be the third one, because it's been teased that a certain, I don't know if he's Scottish or English actor.
Yeah.
Is playing a certain crime prince in Gotham.
Yeah, which I in the same way that I was saying, Batman's like a litmus test. I get, as a filmmaker, if you get to play in that world, why it would be really hard to resist the chance to do your Joker in addition to your Batman. But it's like, man, we've gotten more Joker in the last couple of years than we've gotten Batman. It's like we've gotten such an abundance.
But have we got Taxi Driver remake, not Joker.
It said Joker.
It's
Joker.
Taxi Driver.
Which I know that movie's been memed a lot in
I you know me. I love.
You were never a fan.
Great performance. I've seen the movie before in Taxi Driver. Couldn't care less.
I liked it pretty. I've never revisited it, but I liked it pretty well when it came out. But in the same way, I wasn't mad at it was so different, because I was like, look, we've gotten so many reads on this character, and at least this one does not feel just like a retread of something we've seen before. So I was okay with it, because to me that's also comics, right? It's like these characters live infinitely, and so you've had so many different writers and artists and Elseworld stories and things like that, continuity reboots. It's like that is comics, so I'm always okay with seeing people experiment with it in movies. I would really love to see. Again, it's like how do you not do Joker? But at the same time, I'd love to see them. I feel like Matt Reeves is creative enough to not go that way.
personally, I want to see Robin done properly. Granted,
Yeah.
do I love Forever more than I should? Yes, but that's because, fun fact, my favorite Batman character is Batman. It has always been Robin, Dick Grayson, Robin / Nightwing, and Tim
Yeah.
Drake Robin. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not a Jason Todd guy. I'm not a Damian Wayne guy. It has always been Tim Drake or excuse me, Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson
Yeah.
and Tim Drake. That's it. I was like, what? I'm like, I think I did this backward. Did I? Okay, yeah. But no,
I agreed.
but that's because we grew up around the time of the animated series. So those were the two I
Yeah.
knew, and those were who I gravitated to.
Yeah. I know, I agree. I by the way, don't ever apologize for loving Batman Forever, especially not when I'm around, because like I said, I'll defend every Batman movie. There's something to like in all of them. I will never apologize for any of them. But that's something else I saw Pattinson come out the other day. Like they're like, "What about Robin?" He was like, "Well, I think there might be a way to do it in our setting, but like he'd have to be like 13." And I was like, "Fuck yes!" Like I'm a kid. I was like, "This guy gets it." Robin is, at least at first, he has to be a kid.
Or 15 tops. 15 tops. 15 tops.
He's got to be a lot younger. That's like he raises that kid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I was just supporting Batman Forever, it's like those two guys are like the same fucking age. Why is he adopting a guy that's the same age as him?
But they tried to be like, oh no, Chris O'Donnell's 17. That's a 17-year-old.
Yeah. I mean, we let a lot of stuff slip. I mean, you know, Toby Maguire was like graduating high school, right? He's like old enough to be my dad, like, you know, and Spider-Man. Like, we let a lot of that stuff slip. You know, now
the funny thing is, Andrew Garfield was a little bit older than Toby when he did Amazing Spider-Man. He just had the baby face.
That's true. He just looks young. But like in a Tom Holland Spider-Man world, it's like, yes, if you're gonna do Robin, maybe you tell that story. You know, he's a kid, you know, and what is that like? What is it like for this tortured billionaire who looks genuinely tortured in this take? Like, what is it like for him to take him on that journey? And like that's part of the like preciousness of their bond too. Is like when they hit the scene. We've never seen that in live action. We've never seen a true Batman and like Robin hit this scene and Robin's this kid and like what that dynamic's like. We've never seen that. It's crazy. We've never seen anybody do Robin in the movie since Chris O'Donnell, save for, of course, Michael Cera in the Lego Batman movie, which is a performance I love that movie too. But it's crazy. No one's tried it, which is, again, I'm just like, these guys are, you know, the Reeves Pattinson team. I feel like they really are in the pocket of doing something different and special with. I saw someone asked Reeves, they're like, what do you think about, like, your take seems realistic? And he's like, it is a little more grounded, which, you know, veers away from where like some of like the DC universe movies were headed. He's like, but I also do think about like some of the more fantastical elements. How can we make those work in our setting? Which I think is something they should explore. Because something I did like, I mean, there's plenty of things I liked about the Affleck take on the character, but I also like getting to see Batman do something that wasn't so practical after all the Nolan movies.
Yes.
Like, obviously Justice League, he's hanging out with a bunch of metahumans, but I was like, this is a character where we could see a Freeze movie or a Clayface movie or Poison Ivy or whichever. Yes. You could go into that a little heavier, and then it feels like with this movie, it's like, oh, we're a far cry from that now. Everything is realistic, grounded, you know, earnest, like the Nolan stuff was. But maybe we go on that journey with this take of the character. It's like, yeah, you get everything's grounded. He's taking on serial killers, and then he does have to figure out how to adapt to a mud man who can shapeshift, right? Like,
well, like Reeves and Patton said the other day, they think there's a way they can do Freeze, and I'm like, please redeem that character for me, please, 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 please.
Nice to see you.
No, I'm not a nice to see you guy. No, thank you.
It's great. I'll defend Batman and Robin as well.
I know you will.
They're all my precious children. But I agree. Okay, it's like the challenge of how do you make Mr. Freeze work and an interpretation where it is so self-serious and trying to put it in the real world again. It's like, okay, like Riddler was pretty easy. He's a guy and he makes riddles. Like that was okay. That's a pretty easy one to do. But like figuring out Freeze or Court of Owls. Right? Yeah. Like that would be the great rug. You made a good point not doing it in the second movie. If they made 3, because part of Court of Owls is so like the theme of it's like Bruce thinks, you know, he knows Gotham top to bottom. He knows everything about it. And then there was a secret society living underneath it this whole time. And they're like, you idiot. we've hid this from you your whole life, and you never figured it out. And it makes him question everything about Gotham and his own history there, and his family's history there, which they're already seem to be playing on in this movie. I'm very excited to see.
I will say this: if going back to Robin a little bit, right now, if I'm gonna be honest, there's maybe only one child actor that if they cast him, I would be okay with it right now.
Who's that?
Ian Armitage. He's young Sheldon.
Oh fuck, Sheldon, young Sheldon. I was gonna ask who that was, but you painted the picture quick.
But like he's about. I'm looking at his age right now.
What has he done? Anything I would have seen him in? I've never seen young Sheldon. Forgive me.
He was the voice of young Shaggy in Scoob.
I seen that. I seen that. Scoob. Oof, that would have been a Moviepass movie. Yikes.
And he was in a movie called The Glass Castle.
Oh, with Brie Larson?
Yeah.
I actually have seen that.
And he was in Big Little Lies. I don't know if you watch Big Little Lies. I loved Big Little Lies.
I didn't watch, but I've seen The Glass Castle. Well, I don't have any insight into this young man because I've not watched his young Sheldon show, but
here, I would suggest this because he did play a character that Big Little Lies is more of a drama. It's an HBO show. It's 2 seasons, real quick. Great performances all around. Great. He's very good in that show. So I know he has the range to do it.
He's good in it.
He's good in it.
He's
one of the better young actors out there. He's just about to turn 14 this year. So like he's right in that perfect age range where it's like, hey, let's get to work. Let's get to work on this like right away before he ages out.
Yeah, that could work. I don't know if I was casting Robin right here. I really can't think of somebody I would pull out of. I feel like most people that
there was one I would have gone to before this, but he's definitely aged out because he's about to be. He was born in 2005, so he's getting up there in age. And this one, and I know you've seen him in stuff. Noah Jupe.
Jupe. That's Henry, right?
From no.
No. That's what's the Book of Henry kid's name? Is it Jaden Martell?
Jaden Martell.
Who's Jupe? I've seen
A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place.
Quiet Place. That's it. Yeah.
Has the right look. Right. When the first movie came out, perfect age. I know people were campaigning when Batman was filming. If you're gonna put Robin in it, get him now.
He was good in those movies. He was good in Quiet Place. Wow, it's crazy that somebody born in 2005 we can start thinking of as getting up there. It sucks for us.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of what you were asking for with Robin. It's like, all right, he was born in 2005. We're in 2022. He's about to be 17.
Yeah, that's the challenge. I feel like most of the names people would throw out there now are like already getting a little because you don't want somebody you can just do one movie with. Like you want them to play that character, going forward. You want to be kind of, and then you could. I mean, in the way they make movies now, they would want to, age that character up, and then he becomes Nightwing, and then you could do a Jason Todd thing or whatever. Like that's how they make these movies these days. Which I don't know. I don't know what their plan is for this particular.
I've heard trilogy.
Yeah, trilogy. I could see they're still doing the Gotham Central show. Is that right?
Yeah, they're still they're doing a Penguin show with Colin Farrell.
Penguin show, which
like they're banking on this Matt Reeves verse, which I'm really digging.
I hope that all ends up being true because you've always known my philosophy on DC's tendency to announce stuff.
Hey, like I told you the other day, that's your tendency with a lot of things like Uncharted, which Uncharted, our review is up now. You can go check out the review for Uncharted.
Oh,
funny enough, I said in this review, I even mentioned this, Taylor was very much I'll believe it when I see it. And funny enough, my screening started 20 minutes late, and I'm like,
they were finishing it up, dude. They were in the back patching it.
Literally, I got out and I texted Taylor. I'm like, I thought of you immediately when this happened.
They were like finishing up some effect shots in the back, so they had to delay it a little bit. That would have been a Moviepass movie for sure.
but no, it's very weird that it's right here. We're knocking at the door. Like, hey, guess what?
Oh, we're finally here. And we had to look, all those delays from the pandemic too. Because
this remember we were supposed to originally when we got that first trailer, they're like, yeah, October 2021, and
That's
like,
right.
that's my birthday, and we were all like, yo, let's get together for my birthday and see Batman, this, that, and the other, and then it got pushed back, and we're like, oh, I never thought we'd get here. And Taylor, they have confirmed it will be on HBO Max 45 days after it releases in theaters.
Oh, I'll be watching the shit out of this. And when they announced that it was 3 hours long, I was jumping for joy. You can ask Jessica. I was like, yes. I was like, make it even longer. Make it 4 hours. I don't give a fuck. I was like, look, because you know me, I love a long movie if it justifies its runtime.
You and I are the group that's like, no, give me a long movie. I'll take a long movie any day of the week.
If you make a movie good enough that I will want to watch it for 3 hours, then give me 3 fucking hours. Like, give me 4, give me 5. And so, like, you tell me I can go to the theater and I can sit down for 3 whole hours and watch a Batman story unfold. I'm like, that's heaven for me. Like, I couldn't ask for anything more.
And the Batman you and I have said we've always wanted, which is that noir detective style Batman, because they've leaned more on action Batman. Bale had hints of the noir to him, and especially in The Dark Knight. But other than that, we never really got it. There was a couple instances. I'm like, all right, he's the world's greatest detective, but I've barely seen any detective.
Right. Yeah, you're right. The old, like the Keaton and the 90s takes on those, like, they never touched that stuff.
Well, Keaton did in 89 a bit. Keaton did in 89 but we didn't see it as much because he didn't have the high-tech computers. You see him combing through fucking binders. You gotta remember those binders, buddy.
Had to go like Sherlock style on, and like
binders and folders and files.
BVS kind of had that thing where like Affleck was like tracking down, what was it, like the white? It's not the White Russian. What was it? He was like he was looking for like whatever KGB. Yeah, KG Beast's code name was or whatever. Like he was tracking him down on the boat and stuff and all that. You got again elements of it, but this looks like that is center stage of a whole movie. Now I do still expect some badass action sequences.
Oh, we won't see him. We're gonna get some badass action.
Yeah, he's gonna be wailing on fuckers.
Taylor at the end of the movie is going to look like the dad from South Park in his cubicle.
I'm going to have that grease paint on my eyes somehow too. Like I'm going to just rub it on my eyes. I love that element. Jess and I were talking about the other day. So long. Like you go back and watch Batman Returns. There's that hilarious shot at the end
where he rips off his mask and the grease paint's no longer there.
Yeah. They cut the grease paint clearly there, close up. Rips it off like it's made of like fruit roll up, and then
remember grease paint clearly there. Cuts back to Cat.
Oh, you're right.
Cuts back, no grease paint. Looks off.
You thought we wouldn't notice that? I was like, why didn't you just cut from a shot where he did have the grease paint on? Like you didn't have to zoom in on his non-greased up. But anyway, I always thought like it would look pretty cool if he took it off and he had that paint on his face still. Like obviously, number one, we know he's got it on. Like every rendition has clearly had it on. But like, I feel like that Matt Reeves is going to keep finding those little details where it's like he takes it off and he looks like a goddamn mess. He's got grease paint all across his face. His hair's all disheveled. He's sweaty. He's probably limping to the desk because he's
I remember when you talked to my dad about this because my dad was very much of the, oh my God, this is the Twilight guy. And then we had him on to talk about it after fandom ended. And he's like, that is the most the most acting I've seen out of Batman as a character. Yeah. You could just in that one scene, not a single word said, but the look in his eyes, the emotion, all that there. And my dad's like, that and the lighthouse sold me on him.
Yeah. You see the crucible that character's been on. And like, look, the Nolan stuff did it too. Like they really wanted to look at like stripping down the character and see what it's like for that man in the suit. But I think this one's going to take it even further. Yes. And you mentioned it too. I didn't really think about it till now, but like he doesn't say anything in that shot. And we actually haven't like heard him say much in any of these
except I'm vengeance.
Right. I'm vengeance. We haven't really heard him like have dialogue with very many characters.
There's that funeral scene that came out. You got a little bit of dialogue because he's having a back and forth conversation. I was made to watch that scene by Ali Swift because she knows that actress. Ali has actually gotten a break into the business. She's working on a few projects. She worked on a couple Netflix projects that are coming out soon. And she got to meet that actress. She got to know that actress. She's like, that's a friend of mine. Please watch this scene. So I did as a friend thing. But
No, so I know what you're talking. I did watch that too. He does not talk at all in that entire
I thought
scene.
he had like one. I thought he had
No,
like one or two lines.
he just has that woman talking to him and like making him feel bad about not being a philanthropist. And he's just glancing around. It's just the most Batman thing ever. He's just brooding, looking around, sees Riddler up top. Like he it's all physical acting in that scene, which I think part of it too. It's going to be like we're really, I guess we didn't see in Batman Begins so much, but it's like he's early in the career, but like it's not coming easy to him, and he's struggling with it, and he's very close to just losing himself completely in the Batman persona. You know, some people like to think, you know, Batman's the face, Bruce is the mask.
Right.
I like it when he is still trying to be Bruce, and I think that'll be part of the focus of this is what does he do to not lose himself, to not let Riddler push him too far into the darkness, and how he's going to try to retain his humanity. You know, how's Catwoman going to factor in? Is she what direction is she going to pull him in? I think seeing him struggle to become Bruce Wayne at the end instead of become Batman in the end, I feel like that's the real journey of this one.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And speaking of Riddler, Paul Dano's Riddler looks amazing, but maybe this will also convince you to go to con. Our buddy Nick Molbach is planning on cosplaying Paul Dano's Riddler.
Oh, they said Dano was going to be there. I was like, hello. No, that's good. So he's going to put on like the big green trash bag coat.
So we've tracked down every piece, including the mask, which the mask is actually interesting enough, an army heavy winter mask.
Oh, okay.
And then so we've tracked down a green one of those on eBay. We tracked down the sweater, a coat that looks right, the glasses.
That'll be something to see. Yeah, the Zodiac Riddler, which I love that take on it too. I saw people getting all pissy because it didn't look like Jim Carrey.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a take. It's a spin on the character.
You want to know what part of this has made me think back to? I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, the more I see of this, as much as I'm loving what I'm seeing from Dano, I'm really interested to see what the Jonah Hill version of this would have been, because it was this close to being Jonah Hill, remember?
Yeah, I feel like that has to be an almost completely different take than...
I don't think so, because it's still the Matt Reeves version of it. And I think the character would be written the same way, and the costume design would most likely probably be the same.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing how good of a dramatic actor Hill can be, I would have loved to see his version of this.
That's true. You know who? I guess we're not saying he was rumored to be Joker because maybe that could be a spoiler if he shows up in the movie. But you know who? Somebody who came out, and then in the interest of having different takes of characters, somebody that had come out like last year sometime and said they had a take on it was Lakeith Stanfield.
Yes.
And the entire time I've been seeing people going like, who could it be? Who would be Pattinson's Joker? I was like, the only way I would want to see Joker again is if the performer had a take on it, you know, like really have something that's different. And
I think Lakeith could have been different.
For sure. I would love to have seen, you know, assuming that ship has sailed and this other person's going to play that character. I would have loved to see whatever it was that he had ready to pitch, you know, as part, you know.
Also, post Lighthouse, I would love to see a Defoe Joker, especially against Pattinson.
That's true as well. That's true. I remember there was the suggestion that Kristen Stewart should play the Joker, and she was like into it, and I was like, oh, okay, I would see that. I would see that.
You know what? If I hadn't seen Spencer, I would be like, no, but I've seen Spencer. And Spencer is one of my favorite movies last year. Didn't crack my top 10. It's literally like 11 or 12.
Yeah. I still need to watch it. I still need to watch it.
It will be on my on the Vudu. It will be on the Vudu by the end of the weekend because I ordered it from Amazon.
It's on Hulu now, so now I have no excuse.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely will get around to watching it.
Especially with a certain slice.
Well, they also just added I don't know how the correct way to pronounce it. Titan or Titan?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Titan.
Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't.
Do you know what that movie is?
Yes, I know. Remember, they sent George that neon pack because you've even borrowed movies from the neon pack before.
The neon pack. Yeah, that's totally up my alley too, and I can't wait to watch that because that's the one I definitely didn't get to see.
I don't think that's one you can watch with Jess.
No, I think she'll have no tolerance for that tomfoolery at all. If I even just told her what it was about, that would be.
She'd be like, "Nope."
yeah, she would shut that down. But I remember Kristen Stewart was like a fun idea to play a Joker, and she like somebody pitched it to her at an interview, and she was up for it. I don't know if they ever got Robert Pattinson's take on that. I don't know if he would be quite as warm to the idea, but obviously, just conceptually, that's a fun idea. I know. Didn't Willem Dafoe also a couple of weeks ago said he had a pitch for Joker 2? Did you see that?
Yeah, he did say something like that. Yes.
Where he's like, he would play a fake Joker who was like taking the credit. And I was like, look, I don't know what Joker 2 would even be, but like, you just made it very interesting to me if I get to see Willem Dafoe.
We know we're getting it anyways. So
yeah, I don't know what it would be. So if it was come watch Willem Dafoe be the Joker, you would get, because that feels like all these years such a missed opportunity to cast him as that character. And the man can still play a villain.
Yes, he can.
I would go as far as say probably the best performance in No Way Home, surprisingly.
That's arguable. Yeah, I don't think I'd give it to him, but it's definitely an argument that can be had.
The scene where I guess I'll still talk around it, but the scene where he shows up and talks to May for the first time, where he's all sweet, it was like, wow, he's so endearing and charming, and you just really feel empathy for him. And then there's that scene where he quite literally makes the switch, and just such a smart move taking the helmet off him. I was like, I love that helmet. When they took the helmet off him and they let him actually act with his face, you have one of the most interesting faces and show
smile where it feels like he has a Joker smile where it literally goes up to here.
He brings it all the way up to here, and the eyes are darting around, and so genuinely
raised
creepy.
Eyebrows. Just like,
I was like, God damn, this man can go.
Trick. I was like, bone chilling.
And I got the sense that he had I feel like for the last 20 years, he had thought about if I ever did that character again, what would I do differently about it? And crazily enough, got to actually do it. So it's like he was just shooting for the fences the whole time. Or swinging for the fences. I don't know dick about sports. He was shooting for the fences. He was great. Not to take it away from Batman, but goddamn, he was great. And I would Joker 2 is needless as an idea as it seems. I would go see it again if it meant watching Willem Dafoe play the Joker, because that's a missed opportunity.
That's fair. That's fair.
And shit, I still wouldn't have hated if they found some weird cockamamie way to make Joaquin Phoenix Pattinson's Joker, but they're doing all sorts of wacky stuff with timelines and continuity, and Michael Keaton is going to be in the movies now. And
bro, did you see his suit for that leak from Batgirl?
Oh, he looks so good.
Yes.
There's that shot. I'm not sure if it's even Keaton or if it's like his double, but it's like
a stunt double, but just seeing that suit, just seeing that symbol back.
Yes, the yellow circle. I mean, I like what they do with this Pattinson suit, but it's still very utilitarian. It's still very one color. It's pretty close to some of the Nolan stuff, where it's what I liked about Batfleck's suit, it was so off the page. It was so Dark Knight Returns, literally adapted, and I love that yellow circle. I've always wanted to see them do something with the emblem again. And there's that picture where he's looking right down the fucking barrel. He looks so tough.
So I will say this, and this is a hot take. I like Kilmer's first bat suit the best because it's a yellow circle, but it's also gold. The gold, because it's instead of just being pure yellow, it's gold, and I'm like, or bronzish gold. I'm like, that feels like it would more so be, not the bright fucking yellow.
That, and before,
especially on what looks like a gunmetal black, gunmetal gray type suit. It's like, that worked better for me personally. Yeah,
and it's before he threw some tits on it too.
No, the tits didn't come until Clooney.
That's what I mean. It's before they threw tits on it.
Oh.
I never really thought about what my favorite suit. It might be the Batfleck suit, because I love
Batfleck is my overall favorite suit. But if we're talking the yellow circle, I was just talking about that's my favorite yellow circle.
And I do like this suit. I'm excited to see more of it in the movie.
But he's even said this suit's probably going to be just this movie, and that's why I'm not trying to get too attached to it.
Right. It's kind of like it's not quite the first draft, but it's definitely not the final draft. It's it's part of it's the whole entire premise of the movie, right? It's like he's still figuring out what the fuck this is. And I don't know if Riddler is his first proper villain or not. I guess we'll find out when we see the movie if there was anything because it's not year one, right? It's like it's year 2 or
It's
3
year
or something.
Year two, he said.
Year 2. So like they get past the origin stuff, but and I'm also I'm really excited to see what all the mystery element of it, like because they're going to be playing with the Wayne with mythology, which is not something that the movies have done.
Typically done.
Yeah, it's become, I've seen a more prevalent idea in recent years. Did you ever play the Telltale Batman games?
I have it downloaded on my Xbox.
They're
I
good.
just have never played it.
They're good. They're a lot of fun, but they have that element where that's one where they really play with the mythos, where like Joker's characterization is way different, and they really play with the Wayne stuff too. And then there was a really good comic. I'm blanking on it. Was it Batman White Knight? Did you ever read that one? It's
Nah, you gotta remember, my comic shop closed a few years ago, and most of the comic shops are on the west side. So, like, my comic reading, because I prefer holding the physical book in hand, and I like the singular copies. My comic reading just took a nosedive.
Yeah, it's been a while since I visited a comic shop too. But if you're ever in the market for a Batman graphic novel, White Knight, it's its own like continuity. They play with some of the mythos and the different elements and characterizations. The art is fucking fantastic. But they did that too, where Bruce unravels a mystery about his own family and finds out some really upsetting things about his parents and his lineage, and that they aren't quite the perfect, martyrs that he's grown up thinking they were his entire life, which I feel like this is going to do. It's Riddler's unraveling a plot that involves like all the old money of Gotham, the current establishment of Gotham, and that Bruce somehow is related. I think that's really interesting, and that how that's going to test the character, and that he's still going to have to come out as Batman on the other side is going to be without the Thomas Wayne archetype to always look to as his hero, to find out your heroes are flawed or your gods are flawed, how unsettling that could be. I like I said, I always find out that Batman is the one that does it for me, because I remember sitting in the theater for Dark Knight Rises and I was like, oh, I think this is the most excited I've ever been for a movie in my life, actually. And then 4 years later, it was like total hysteria going into Batman v Superman. I was like,
yes,
which, I
remember. I remember we had the opportunity to bring you, like, no, I'm seeing that with my girlfriend, and we're like, because it was me, Connor, and Nick, and we're like, fine, we'd like it if all of us were there, but fine.
Yeah.
And we all texted you right after, and you were like, guys, leave me alone.
Yeah, I was so, and then I had fairly conflicted feelings coming out of that movie, and that I've kind of restored over time. I think, like I said, I think there's things to like about all the Batman movies, but that one again, I was like, holy shit, I've not been this excited since the last Batman movie. And now here we are again, where it's like, oh man, it's so close. I can taste it. Another Batman movie. I go see all the comic book movies. I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. That was like, I keep saying that movie was a magic trick. I can't believe that they pulled off that trick. And
now you're hoping they can pull off the magic trick of giving you the Batman you've always wanted on the big screen in just 2 weeks.
And it may not be everything I've ever thought about, because like I said, I'll always take an interpretation than just, because the things people criticize Marvel for is, they're very, I disagree that they're formulaic necessarily, but they're very similar tonally, and they're all feel like episodes in a series rather than just movies telling their own 3-act story. I would so much rather see a filmmaker with a take on the story, and actors, who are engaged with that take, and is, a real interpretation of the material that does still pay respect to what it is, but also is going to allow it to breathe and become its own thing. I mean, I think that's what almost all of them have been. Like Burton's is so identifiably his. Schumacher, for better or for worse. I mean, there's a lot of studio notes in there, but a lot of his sensibilities are still in those movies. And Nolan, it's kind of crazy knowing Nolan as the filmmaker he is now, that he did superhero movies. It's kind of nuts to think about, because I feel like you could never get him to do those again. But that he saw with that character specifically, he said, I have a take on that if you'll let me do it. And he did 3 movies. And then even Snyder, who was like, my take is that you're going to actually get to see one that looks like the comics and it knows Superman and shit. Like, that was something. And I feel like Reeves is still somehow a really underrated blockbuster filmmaker. I love those fucking apes movies.
You and me both.
I love those apes movies more than I ever should have. Those like are way better than they have any right to be.
Agreed.
So like I was like, you can maybe care that much about the apes. Wow, I can't imagine how much you're going to get me to care about Batman, a character I'm already super in the pocket for. And I mean, here I am. I'm rambling about it, like, and I've rambled about it before on this channel, and I'll continue to ramble about it, and
You
I'll
rambled
probably
about
see
it
it.
when we got that first trailer.
Yeah, when we did the DC fandom thing.
Fandom.
Yeah, the fandom. Which man, that was even that feels so long ago. We're finally here.
Right?
Finally got that movie.
We're finally here. And I think maybe when this comes out, I should just bring you back on and we'll have a full Batman breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It'll probably be longer than the movie itself, as we've done on Reely Scared countless times. We can do that. You have to keep me away from doing that. You'd have to try to stop me rather than invite me. Yeah, let's do it. Definitely. Spoilerific Batman.
Well, because you're not seeing it till about a week after it comes out anyway. So at that point, I'm like, fuck it. Spoilers, a free game.
Yeah, I'll be like the last person to see it anyway. I would love to break it down. I can't wait to know everything this movie wants to give me.
Yeah. But guys, with that was this week's Real Talk. I guess we've already figured out where we're going to be in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But Taylor, thank you so much for coming on, man. I already plugged them before, throughout the show, but Uncharted, go check out that review. I didn't plug this one, Dog. Be sure to check out that review. It is out now. Let me know your thoughts on that movie. Let me know your thoughts on Uncharted. And of course, as I already brought up, February 28th, the Batman review drops right here on this channel. And I am so excited. I just can't contain myself. And yeah. Taylor, thank you again for coming on, man.
Thank you.
I've missed talking to you about movies and stuff, so it was nice to finally be able to do this again.
I agree. But it's been a long time since I've done a proper podcast. Obviously, really scared, like unintentionally wound up on another hiatus, which is something I'm gonna try to pull us back from. But it's been a while since I've been able to just sit down and do this, and it especially Real Talk. It's fun to just really shoot the shit kind of broadly about movies again. So
notice the change in how this shit works.
Yeah, no, this was great. I appreciate you having me on. It was a great time, and anytime you think you have a subject that I will wax poetic on like a lunatic, just let me know. I'll be back.
Let's see. We went about 30 minutes on Moviepass and nearly an hour on Batman. It's typical Matt and Taylor show.
Yeah, was it the clean Cleek? Is that what we used to say?
Yeah, the clean Cleek is when you pass that 2-hour mark.
Yeah, we kept it squeaky clean this time.
Without a doubt. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Working on, it's looking like a me and Nick classic episode. So we'll see. That might change depending on what news drops. And I will try not to spoil the Batman in the process.
Don't do that.
Well, I can't, because then I'll never be able to go to a screening again.
Yeah. And you'll never be able to talk to me again either. I'll be so upset.
But with that, guys, signing off. I'm Matt. That is the amazing Taylor Cleek. And this was another Who Are They Real Talk. Peace.
Stay spooky.